People don't start their own businesses because they're not passionate about whatever it is that they're doing. People love what they do when they're building their own business. One of the biggest hurdles that I come across is
You didn't start a business to put out fires, but here you are, holding the extinguisher. Business isn't theory, it's pressure, late nights, tight margins, the thing that keeps breaking no matter how many times you fix it. When the room's on fire, the amateurs shout, the pros stay calm. That's the Fixers and Founders way, part discipline, part rebellion. We walk into broken systems, find the pulse, and make it run clean. Because calm isn't weakness. Calm is a strategy. We're operators, builders, problem solvers, born from the grind, built for the builders. Join us now as we chat with fixers and founders just like you. Let's jump in.
Welcome to Fixers and Founders, where vision meets velocity. I'm Tony.
I'm Forrest.
If you're the founder who built your company on hustle, closed the first deals yourself, and now feel trapped in a calendar full of sales calls with no clear way out, today's guest matters. Because the hardest stage of growth isn't getting customers, it's building a sales engine that works without you. Morgan Abreu helps founders navigate one of the most expensive and emotional transitions in early growth, moving from founder-led sales to a real, scalable revenue system. Not just hiring a rep, building the structure, the onboarding, the clarity that actually makes that hire succeed. So if your pipeline still depends too much on you, or your first sales hire didn't go the way you'd hoped, this conversation is for you. Let's get it done.
Man, I'm excited to have you here today, Morgan. Clients that I work with, lots of founder-led businesses and lots of founders. They're the only person that sells. And it's interesting to have those conversations because typically you say, well, who's the best salesperson in the company? And they're like, me. And I'm like, well, you don't have a business. You have a job. You haven't figured out how to make a business. So I'm excited to learn about what you do. So you work with founders who are trying to step out of the day-to-day in sales. What's the biggest emotional or mindset hurdle you see when you help them make that shift?
Yeah, so when I work with founders, people don't start their own businesses because they're not passionate about whatever it is that they're doing. People love what they do when they're building their own business. There's a reason behind why they're developing what they're developing. And so one of the biggest hurdles that I come across is actually getting them to relinquish control. And so by creating a process that they feel really involved in the creation of versus the management of, they still feel like they're in control, but it's not them managing that day to day.
Good. Uh, So many people, founders especially, just have trouble building systems like that.
Yeah, because that's not what they're trained for. Founders want to come in and they want to build this incredible system to a solution to a problem they're passionate about. No one gets into their own business because they're excited to sell their own business or they're excited to do the sales for their business.
Right. See it regularly.
Morgan, when you think about like the first sales hire trap, a lot of founders think that hiring a salesperson is instantly going to solve their growth problem. But what actually needs to be in place before that can happen?
So what I see most frequently is two pathways. So founders will either hire a perfect on paper sales rep that is extremely experienced, comes with a fancy title, fancy logos they've worked for, and a really expensive price tag most of the time. But they're used to working in systems that probably have those logos behind them. When you're selling with a logo behind you and a tech stack that works for you and all of these different systems, and then move into a startup position, it's setting them up for failure. The other trap with the first hire that I see people move into is they'll hire someone who's really, really junior. So it's kind of those two pathways. Most of the time, the first hire isn't going to be someone in the middle ground. And that hire that's really junior is going to come in and they're going to be blowing up the founder's Slack and email all day long because they have a million questions because they've never done it before, which is totally fine. But if the goal is to remove the founder from the system, then they need to have someone perfect in place that is going to be able to actually go in and execute those systems. So we're talking about having the correct tech stack in place, knowing what your ICP is, knowing what cadences work, who are the decision makers within your industry. All of these things need to be put in place. And actually knowing why people purchase your product is really important because, and I say product at large, product could be service, product could be like a physical product, that when you know those things, someone that doesn't have that founder title behind them is able to sell them.
Follow up to that, Morgan, what makes a good middle ground sales rep? What separates them from your junior and your senior? I'm curious.
So that's a really good question. It's not necessarily that they don't have a ton of experience or that the answer that I'm going to give you is that the vibe has to be right and the fit has to be right because it's going to be different for every company that I work to place somebody in. And the relationship between that first sales hire and the founder is really important. So to me, it's less about the experience they have and more about the personality fit and the culture fit for the founder, the rest of the team, and that first sales hire.
Some context. The reason I ask that is because I consider myself more of a middle ground type of a rep. And I
Mhm.
would say, yeah, someone that can roll with the punches and sort of quietly be able to take it on the chin.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly it.
Well, I'll tell you what you said as far as hiring an advanced salesperson or experienced salesperson that's worked behind a logo versus the inexperienced. I have seen that firsthand in some of the businesses I've worked in. I've hired some major salespeople from, Verizon, AT&T over the years, and they just cannot function in a founder size business without the full tech stack that they're used to. Even if you have a good tech stack, it's not the same as a big logo company like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference between a business that grows because of one rainmaker versus one that grows because of a repeatable system?
The ones that grow because of a repeatable system are going to be the businesses that last because it doesn't have a single point of failure. If your founder is your single point of failure, or if there's one person managing the entire pipeline, something happens to that person, they get pulled in a different direction, your pipeline dries up. And everyone listening here knows that sales is a long game and a short game at exactly the same time. So you need to be thinking about what's happening 3 months down the line, what's happening 6 months down the line, what's happening tomorrow, what's happening 2 years from now, all at exactly the same time. And so if one person has to manage all of that and is also responsible for scaling the company strategically in other like operational aspects, it's too much for one person to manage sustainably to grow the company for the long run.
Yeah, I think it's Jeb Blunt that says your pipeline is your lifeline. And if you don't
Mhm.
have a pipeline outside of the founder, then you will not stay in business.
Yep. It's the same as people that all of their business comes from referrals. It's incredible for a short period of time, and you can continue to network and build those relationships, but at some point you are gonna have to have, like, an outbound motion that happens.
Morgan, as companies grow, the communication tends to get noisy and the pipeline visibility gets fuzzy. What are some early warning signs that the revenue systems is starting to break down?
From the founder's perspective, if you start to feel like your sales reps aren't doing enough, or if you start to feel like you're just, like, frustrated with everything sales related, there's probably actually a system or a communication problem that's happening versus an issue with personnel. So I would take a hard look at what you actually are providing to your teams at large before you go through and just fire everyone. Because I've seen that happen as well, where people come in and they're like, I don't like the results I'm seeing, and then clean house. Listening to what your team is telling you and listening to the information you have provided to them is going to be integral in figuring out where those problems lie.
Great points.
Got to spend some time looking in the mirror a lot of times because if you haven't set up the structure for success, then a really good salesperson, even that middle ground salesperson, is not going to be successful.
Yeah,
Again,
though
seen
often
that
that middle
snowball.
ground salesperson,
Yeah.
they are kind of like the creamy, center, the gooey glue, like keeping and holding things together until they reach a breaking point and just bounce. Though also with that, yeah, not just firing everyone, though incidentally, like hiring more people, right?
Yes.
Throwing people at the problem. I can't tell you how many organizations I've seen and some been a part of where it's like at some point, the founder needs to realize it's not just that everybody sucks or you don't just need more people, right? I mean, it's just a blind spot when it comes to the systems. And I think the founders, they are system oriented in a sense, though I don't think that they're oftentimes focused enough to be like truly systems focused. and get into the minutia and get a system built and really go through the motion step by step to realize, like, is this viable? And we have a rock solid foundation. And without that engine, yeah, there's nothing to measure. So again, I see it far too often. I'm sure you both do also, where it's, you throw money at it or you throw people at it and wind up just basically throwing gas on it.
Yeah, that's such a good point because it does go in both directions. If salespeople often think like, okay, if I have this quota I have to hit, and that means that I need to have this many deals closed, it means I need to have this many calls, and they'll do that calculation. And if the leadership team is trying to do that same calculation of, okay, if I need to have this much added to my pipeline at large, I need to add this many more sales reps. That isn't always the case. And sometimes creating better systems, better tech stacks, better resources for the people that you already have in place that are trained and really knowledgeable about you, your business, what you do, how to sell, is going to get you to that solution a lot faster.
I bet you we could squirrel on AI for about 2 hours and talk about scaling effective salespeople with AI that understand your business. But I'm not going to take us down that rabbit hole right now.
Yeah, AI is a great tool. I will say this: AI is a great tool. It is tons and tons and tons of valuable resources. But at the end of the day, your sellers are selling to people. So the relationships that they build are still people to people, and people buy things
Yeah,
from people they love.
yeah. It's a
And I'll
full
throw this
force.
out there too. For me, it's an evergreen piece of advice. The acronym PUFF. Just pick up the freaking phone. A lot of times
Mhm.
it's literally all you got to do. AI and computers and all the digital outreach. Sometimes it just takes a good old fashioned phone call, and
Yeah,
there's not enough of that going around.
yeah. For sure. So when you step into a new client engagement, what's one question you ask that immediately reveals how mature or immature their sales process is?
I make them pitch me. I do like a pitch practice where I get them on the phone. I pretend that I am what they have defined as their ICP and ask them as many objection questions as I possibly can. And it's not meant to be a quiz on them. It's not meant for me to be like, I'm the best sales rep there ever was. You should be able to handle these objections. That's not it at all. Because I want to know where their process falls apart in their mind, whether that's with the product itself, whether it's the value proposition, whether it's how they position themselves in the marketplace. And when you're hit with an objection, that immediately shows me holes in the process.
I love that. That's awesome.
That is great. So, more advice. If a founder listening today, Morgan, wants to reduce the dependence on their leading sales in the next 12 months, what's the first practical step that they should take?
You have to get really clear on your metrics. So you need to be tracking who you're outreaching to, who's responding to you. And this doesn't have to be complicated. Like if you're a brand new founder and you don't have the money to pay for these tech stacks, these fancy CRMs, put it in a spreadsheet, have it written down somewhere. Because if you're not tracking, you can't change. And so you have to have a place to be able to start from.
Yeah, I think that's as simple as just a spreadsheet. And a lot of people just make it so complicated. I got a client who's building a CRM, and I'm like, just start with something basic. We don't need to we don't need to reinvent the wheel yet. I mean, you might find that you want to build your own CRM, but that's just paralysis by analysis. You're not dealing with the real issue.
Yeah, I mean, even me, I have the free version of a popular CRM tool, and that's all I use. I haven't even really customized it that much. I just want to make sure that my contacts are there and that information about the people I've reached out to are there. So that if a year from now, 2 years from now, I'm like, did I talk to Tony and Forrest? Like, I can remember, oh, yeah, and this is what we talked about. Just that like memory jog, which also
It's
goes
it
back to that relationship building.
It's amazing. I've done sales in several roles over my lifetime and career, and then obviously I do sales for my own business right now. But the person that wins the sale is a lot of times the person that follows up,
Hmm.
and it's just amazing.
100%.
It's amazing how like, oh, well, you're the only person that called me back. I'm like, well, that's why I have a CRM that reminds me to do that. So, yeah, calling back is just a big part of the game.
It's a huge part
Yeah.
of the
And to
game.
evoke Jeb Blunt again, the Fanatical Prospecting book, chapter 11, why you should own your database. That's something evergreen to go back to. It's like 6 or 7 minutes audiobook chapter driving home the importance of that CRM. And essentially, it's just because, as you say, Forrest and Morgan, it just takes that burden off of your memory. and it
Mhm.
allows you to remember who you need to talk to, when, and why. Very simple. Understand, in all the organizations that I've either worked with or come across, people have an aversion to the CRM. I just don't get it. It can be your best friend.
And mine is like the most simple thing possible. I have like your name, your email, a phone number if I have it, and then like where I came in contact with you and a little bit about our conversation. I think that when you get really, really in the weeds about all of these different fields that have to be filled out for all of these different contacts to make the quote unquote perfect CRM, it gets really messy really quickly. And then it becomes so messy that people don't want to use it anymore. So just keep it simple, keep it to things you're actually going to use that are truly going to be beneficial for you, and get rid of all the fluff. Because even like I have personal quote unquote CRMs that are just notes in my phone. Like made a LinkedIn post a couple weeks ago that was talking about my coffee note on my phone. Like if we go get coffee, I'm going to write down what you ordered, because the next time I want to bring you a coffee, I want it to be your coffee. I don't want it to be a random like latte that I picked up because that was what it was.
That's a sound bite to hold on to, Tony. That was a good one. Yeah.
I remember that post actually. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Last book to share, because I know you shared Fanatical Prospecting. I would share Go for No. I don't know if you guys have read that book, but Go for No is a great one too. So, what's something you believed about success in your early career that you've completely changed your mind about?
That's such an easy question for me to answer. When I was in school, and like my degree is actually in biology, which I think is a funny, like windy
That's awesome.
career statement. But I used to think I wanted to join an organization, work my way up the ranks, climb the corporate ladder, be the one that was on the top, and was sold into this like corporate mentality that that was going to be the only way I could define success for myself. And I just think that that is such a lie that we're all sold. Do things that make you happy and bring in people to help you do the things that don't make you happy. And that's going to be the secret to how you're going to be successful in your business long term. The longer you can stay doing the things you're excited about, the happier you're going to be for the long run.
I think you are much wiser beyond your age making that statement, because there's a lot of people that just don't get it. It took me a long time to get it too. So I can't say that I wish I had learned it a lot younger.
And that's a great answer. And Morgan, last question for you. Really been a pleasure having you here, getting to know a bit more about you. Before I get into this question, people want to connect with you. They want to get interrogated by you. They want to pitch you and have you pick them apart. Where's the best place they can reach you?
Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Morgan Abreu on LinkedIn, and I can give you that link for you to have as well. Or if you wanted to just go straight ahead and book some time on my calendar, my company's website is meliastrategy.com, and there's a book a link. So go ahead and pop on and grab some time.
Absolutely. We'll have those links in the show notes. So again, last question here, and I may know this one. We got into it in the pregame, though you may surprise me. When you feel mentally overloaded or burned out, what is something simple or unexpected that helps you reset?
I go hop in the water. So living in Honolulu, I scuba dive with my husband, and just being under the water, it's both incredibly quiet and incredibly loud in a world that you've never experienced before. It feels cool to be like a part of something for such a short period of time.
That's rad.
That's awesome. Well, that was Morgan Abreu reminding us that growth doesn't stall because founders stop working hard. It stalls because the systems around revenue never fully take shape. From founder led side hustle to scalable structure, Morgan's work shows that building a sales engine isn't just about hiring people, it's about building clarity, confidence, and repeatability into the way the company grows. If you're tired of carrying the pipeline yourself, rewind this one. There's a better way to scale. I'm Forrest.
I'm Tony.
And this has been Fixers and Founders.
Oh, my darlings, look at you. Still here with me till the end. That's how I know you're one of us. The fixers, the founders, the ones who build in the chaos and still manage to laugh through it. Drop a comment, share your sparks, and connect with each other. This is where the net weaving begins. Like, share, and subscribe to keep the fire blazing. Until next time.